So following the Q&A, the thought came up, and so the question would be, what exactly are resources that parents and siblings and beyond them can incorporate for homeschooling? And by extension, can this extend to the elderly, including grandparents, who might be able to do better there than to simply be put in the home?
There are, we live in an age where we are very fortunate. There are lots of options out there. Keith Adams, one of he's a director at Family Policy Institute of Washington, and one of our MCs here today, he's a grandpa. He and his wife are homeschooling their grandkids. They're raising their grandkids, so they're homeschooling them. My husband and I have told all of our kids that when they start having kids, we're going to live near them because they need to homeschool, and we are going to help them homeschool. I know many grandparents now who are homeschooling their grandkids. We live in an age where a lot of families have to have both parents working. That makes it very, very difficult to homeschool. And even, splitting up work shifts. One spouse works in the morning, the other in the evening, trying to homeschool. It can be very difficult. Bringing grandparents in for homeschooling is a fabulous, fabulous option. There are also lots of other options. People are starting homeschool pods or homeschool sharing, where two families get together. One family takes a couple days homeschooling, the other family takes another couple days homeschooling. A really good resource for people who are wanting to start homeschooling, they don't know where to start though, is with the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, HSLDA. And if you go and just Google HSLDA, you'll come up with their website. And that website will show you how to withdraw your kids from your particular state. It will also tell you all of the laws or the rules about homeschooling for your particular state. And it gives all sorts of ideas for how to get started homeschooling, how to pick curriculum, how to do homeschool sharing, how to bring in family members to help with the homeschooling. When I was a kid, we didn't have all of these options. I think I knew one girl who was homeschooled, and she was the oddball. Now there's so many families who are homeschooling that the resources are very plentiful. Also, there are some churches out there that will do programs for homeschool families. The particular church I go to, every Wednesday morning, they have what they call Wednesday Connect. Homeschool families bring their kids in, and they offer classes for these kids. So for those who are out there really wanting to homeschool, but you just think you can't, so many options to turn to, and there is help out there for you.
Oh yeah, well, there is no restriction on homeschool, on the statute allowing homeschooling, on which family members are involved. So a grandparent, a great-grandparent could be the teacher in the homeschool environment. What I would recommend is getting families that are multi-generational or larger families where it might be different family members teaching the kids, the students. Go to the Homeschool Resource Center, Homeschool Resource Center. They have a website, a series of organizations cooperating on a big website, and they will explain how in an extended family, in a big multi-generational or extended family, it doesn't matter, any member of the family could instruct kids, and it is a way to keep multi-generational families integrated together and not breaking up and going into a nursing home. You might want to keep great-grandma in the home teaching kids if she was inclined and was able. So it is a great way to keep a large or multi-generational family together and operating as a family unit. It's absolutely allowed.
Well, I want to recommend an author. His name is Dr. Josh Mulvihill. I believe it's Mulvihill. He actually has a PhD in the topic of grandparenting from a biblical perspective. He's written a book out on it. I'm sorry, I can't remember the title. I think it has something to do with biblical view of grandparenting. Absolute must reading for grandparents to help them to see how they can participate in the rearing and raising of children in cooperation with their parents as grandparents. So I recommend that resource, Josh Mulvihill on grandparenting, by all means. It's a lost art and it needs to be restored, the biblical view of grandparenting, because grandparents have played a role in the thinking and development of children in other ages and times, and we've lost a lot of that in this country. So I would point people to Josh Mulvihill. That's my best advice.
Okay, I'm Keith Adams. I'm with the Family Policy Institute of Washington, and I am the Director of Outreach in our state. So one of the things we could do is, in our state, there's 50,000 grandparents that are raising grandkids. And we're raising 2 ourselves. We raised 9, now we're raising 2. So if you think about others that are raising 3 grandkids, so there could be 100,000 grandkids that grandparents alone are raising. What do they do? One thing I know they can do, and we did it where we live, in South Bend and Raymond, is we started a co-op. And last year we had 15 kids that were taken out of public school and started a co-op. This year we have 50. So there's a big mass exodus of getting out of public indoctrination centers. They're not public schools, they're indoctrination centers, what they are. And yes, there are some good teachers, but I think they're getting brainwashed by so much of this stuff that's going on that this makes it very difficult. So I think if grandparents, they can go to the homeschool website, just go to homeschool.com, and it brings up a lot of resources. There's a huge resource down in Vancouver, Washington, with Heidi St. John, with the Vancouver Resource Center. And it's all about getting kids out of public school and how to help homeschool and use the resources, for example, that they provide. There's 2 right there, and that's what we did. Our kids are homeschooled, but they're part of a co-op.